The old woman sat on a worn-out wooden chair, her frail hands trembling as she clutched a faded photograph. Her son, once her pride, was now a ghost in the world, swallowed by darkness. She had named him with hope, prayed for his greatness, but fate had turned him into Joker, a name whispered in fear. He was no longer the boy who held her hand, who giggled at her lullabies. He had become something else. Yet, for a mother, love does not fade. With teary eyes, she whispered a prayer, hoping somewhere in the abyss her words reached him. Joker walked through the neon-lit streets, his face hidden behind a mask of twisted laughter. The city knew him, feared him, cursed him. He had built his empire on chaos, ruling shadows with his ruthless hand. But tonight, something felt different. A shiver ran down his spine, an unfamiliar pull in his heart. He dismissed it as weakness, a momentary crack in his armor. Yet, deep inside, a memory stirred, a soft voice, a warm embrace, a mother's love. He shook his head violently, trying to bury the thought, but it clung to him like an old wound. Far away, his mother knelt on the cold floor, hands clasped tightly. She prayed not for his return, not for redemption, just one last moment. One glimpse of the boy she once knew, the child she had cradled. If he must walk this path, let him not be alone, she whispered to the heavens, tears wetting her cheeks. She had long given up on miracles, but tonight she dared to hope. The candle beside her flickered, casting shadows on the walls, but her faith burned steady. Somewhere in the city, under the neon lights, Joker felt a strange warmth. The night was restless, wind howling through the alleys as Joker stood atop a skyscraper, gazing at the city that both belonged to him and had abandoned him. He pulled out his phone, fingers hovering over a number he had erased a lifetime ago. His pulse quickened. His mind screamed at him to stop, to bury the past where it belonged. But his heart, long thought dead, betrayed him. A single press, the line rang. The longest few seconds of his life. And then, a voice fragile, familiar, filled with something he had not known he craved. "Forgiveness, my son." Her voice was barely a whisper, but it hit him like a gunshot. He wanted to speak, to laugh it off, to pretend it was a mistake. But he stood frozen, the chaos in his soul louder than the city below. Ma. The word felt foreign on his tongue, an echo from another life. Silence stretched between them, heavy, unspoken. Then a sob, soft and broken. "I knew you would call," she said, as if she had never doubted him. He clenched his jaw, struggling against the tide of emotions crashing over him. For the first time in years, he felt small. She spoke of old days, of childhood mischief, of the nights he had fallen asleep in her arms. Her words painted a life he had long buried beneath blood and power. He clenched his fists, trying to keep the memories from drowning him. But her voice was relentless, breaking through the walls he had built. "You were always good at heart," she whispered, a plea hidden beneath her certainty. Joker shut his eyes, fighting back something hot and painful. His past was a graveyard, and yet, here she was, breathing life into ghosts he thought long dead. The city buzzed around him, but for once he didn't hear it. He heard only her, a lullaby from a time when he still believed in warmth. "I miss you," she admitted, her voice thick with unshed tears. He gritted his teeth, torn between the man he had become and the boy she remembered. A part of him wanted to hang up, to run back to the darkness where emotions had no place. But another part, the part she had never stopped loving, wanted to surrender. Double quotes, his throat tightened. The words were foreign, but in that moment, they were real. A siren wailed in the distance, a reminder of the world he ruled. He had a choice to make. He could hang up, bury the past, and continue his reign of terror. Or he could take the first step back toward the boy his mother still saw in him. He glanced at his reflection in a nearby window. The mask of Joker stared back, but beneath it, he saw something else. Someone else. "I'm coming home, Ma." The words left his lips before he could stop them. His mother gasped, but he didn't wait for her reply. The decision was made. The journey home felt longer than all the years he had spent away. Every step was heavy, every breath uncertain. He had built an empire, but here he was, crumbling before the only person who had ever truly seen him. As he approached the small, dimly lit house, his heart pounded against his ribs. Would she still accept him, after everything? The door creaked open before he could knock, and there she was, frail, tired, but smiling. No judgment, no fear, only love. He fell to his knees, burying his face in her lap. "Forgive me," he whispered. She stroked his hair, just as she had when he was a child. "You were never lost, my son," she murmured. "Just waiting to find your way home." The weight of his sins pressed against him, but for the first time in years, he felt light. He had been Joker for too long, lost in shadows of his own making. But tonight, in his mother's embrace, he was just a son. A boy who had strayed too far, but had finally returned. And as the night stretched on, her prayers wrapped around him like a shield, guiding him back to the light. Thanks for watching video like this. Video.